Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Steph, and today I wanted to share with you a new storage option that I found at Michael's, and I've been trying to get my hands on it for a while. So I'd like to do this comparison. I do have two storage systems already here that many of us are familiar with in the diamond painting community. So we have the standard Elizabeth Ward storage tray. It's quite well loved here. And then we also have the Diamond Art Club storage, and they are a little bit different. Now, one of the very first videos I did on the channel was a comparison between this, and several other typical storage systems like the Art Dot rounds, cubes, little 1" by 1" cubes. So I do have a video already talking about the comparison between these two in particular. I go through how much they can hold, all of that kind of thing. So without further ado, I would like to introduce this. Now this is new for me. It says Classify Bead Storage Box. Now, I saw this on Michael's only on their online, and it says that it shipped from Michael's, so it's not like a third-party seller. It said that it was actually something that Michael's carried. My store has never had this. Even back when Joann's was still in business, R.I.P. Joann's, Joann's had their own version of something like this, and I was never able to get my hands on it. But this is the Michael's version. It does go in and out of stock. I will put the link, if I can find it, in the description box. So if you are interested in this one, I would recommend, if you can't find, if it's not available to you now, I would just keep an eye on it. I've been eyeballing this one for, I don't know, probably like a year, and there were plenty of times where it just said it wouldn't ship to me. It was only available online. It was kind of a weird situation. But then, right around November 2025, and it's the last day of December, it's New Year's Eve 2025 today, and filming this, right around November, like Black Friday time, it just suddenly became available. And the price point was pretty good. If I remember correctly, it was, I will have to double check on the price for you, but it was cheaper than the Elizabeth Ward, and I believe also cheaper than the Diamond Art Club. So without further ado, I'd like to unbox this and then compare some of these size containers. So this definitely looks like it's going to be an Elizabeth Ward dupe. You can see on front and back, it's the same picture. It says that the size is 34.8 by 27 by 4.3. I believe that's centimeters. And something really cool too is you can see here they actually have the measurements for each of these containers. So my favorite thing to do with these is to actually go through and see what the drills are like when they store in these trays. Okay, so I'm pulling it out. So it seems quite nicely bubble wrapped. Okay, then we have, let's see. Okay, that's kind of nice. All right, so this is just the front tray. Okay. This is definitely giving me some Elizabeth Ward vibes here. Now the clasps are a little different. Elizabeth Ward kind of has these type, and it feels a little bit cheaper. When I say that, I just mean frailer plastic. Okay, so I'm going to take off the cover. This is pretty sturdy. This is pretty nice. So let's get a look at these containers. So if I were to just show you this versus this, they look pretty indistinguishable, right? So let me see here. So we've got the container here, and I see it's got like a little track. Okay, so this does have these dividing lines here. Oh, it's quite easy to open. That would make me more worried about how flimsy the joint is here, but it works a lot like Elizabeth Ward. You can just pop on and off. Maybe it's just that container. Let's look at another one. So these are the largest style. No, that's pretty easy to get on and off. Okay. That's the largest style. This is the medium. Nice clasp. It definitely feels secure here. You can see the little tooth there. Helps grip that. And I'm not sure what this is all about. I think that's just like a spout. Let me see if I can get it to focus. This right here, so that when you are pouring your drills, it's like a little spout. So that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. And then it just kind of helps you like get the container out because you can stick your finger in there. Okay, and then this is like the next size down, the small medium, I guess. Okay. Opens nicely like the rest. And then the little ones, which are the ones that I tend to run out of and need the most. So, ooh, that's nice and easy, but not so easy that I'm worried about it opening with drills in it. Okay, so that kind of gives us a basis of the containers. The tray itself, I'm just going to remove a couple of rows here. So the tray itself is nice, but it feels a little bit less sturdy than the Elizabeth Ward. Let's see if I can. No, I guess. Yeah, no, I guess not. It feels kind of the same. I do have some Diamond Art Club containers in the Elizabeth Ward. Oops. So don't judge me. I mix and match. But as we can see, the Elizabeth Ward also has these tracks. They are about the same exact. This is, I would say so far what I'm looking at is an Elizabeth Ward dupe for sure, only for cheaper. So let's look at some of the differences between the containers, and I will get out the Diamond Art Club ones in just a second. Okay, so these are the Elizabeth Wards. Let's see. I do not have, oops, you know what? I'm gonna have to be right back because I just realized I don't have a large Elizabeth Ward. This is my Diamond Art Club. So I'll be right back to go get that. Hey, and I'm back. Sorry about that. So what we're gonna do is look at a tray of full Elizabeth Wards containers to show you the size differences. Okay, so this is the Elizabeth Ward. Now I only have Elizabeth Ward besides these Michael dupes, okay? So while I do mix and match my Diamond Art Club and Elizabeth Ward, I don't mix and match until now any kind of other Elizabeth Ward tube. So I'm gonna set some of these to the side because, oops, sorry, not camera arm there. Because what I want to show you is, so this is our Diamond Art Club, so we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is we have our true Elizabeth Wards here, and then we have our dupes, or Michael's dupes, right here. Okay, so what I'd like to do is I'd like to go through the different size features, the actual containers and how they look, and how much they hold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom you in a little bit, okay, so that you can see a little bit better how we're going to do this. So I've got my spare 310 in my, yes, that's a taco seasoning container. So this is actually a project I'm working on right now. There's just so much 310 came with it that I put it in my taco containers. So we've got the dupes, the Michaels, and we've got the Elizabeth Wards. So let's look at the largest storage. So, oh, I forgot, my Elizabeth Wards also have the pouring tray, okay? So I'm looking at the containers here. They are nearly indistinguishable. I'm gonna look at the bottom, and there are some markings here that are gonna let me know which one is actually which. So this one actually says EWC, made in China, GPPS number 8. Okay, so Elizabeth Ward actually says EWC, so Elizabeth Ward containers, versus the Michaels says Made in China PS 09-3. So that's probably just marking their nose. So if you're a container purist and you're worried about mixing them up, there you go. Another thing that I did notice about these, so if we look at these containers, you can kind of see this white plastic lip here on the Elizabeth Ward is a lot smaller, and this one's a little bit more significant. So if I look at them from the front, they are nearly indistinguishable. And if I look them from the sides, they both have these ridges on them. And then the backs look pretty indistinguishable as well. But I am noticing on the Elizabeth Ward storage here, you can see that back hinge looks a little bit more substantial than this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. So I can open that. So my Elizabeth Wards, I usually have a little bit of trouble because as you can see, I do not keep nails. Okay, so I don't have an easier way to open little latches like this. So Elizabeth Ward is pretty substantial in terms of their latch system, okay? Like, they're going to close and they're going to stay closed. I've dropped a bunch of these before and they didn't pop open, so that was good. Remains to be seen on the Michaels. I'm sure at some point I will discover that. So this is much easier to open up. Like, I barely have to really work at it. So if you're somebody with arthritis or short nails and you're not really particularly worried about it popping open, like, look, like, I don't even have to stick my nail under it. Oh. Proves me wrong. I can just put a little bit of my finger under there and pop it open. The Elizabeth Ward, on the other hand, that's not going to work, okay? So I definitely say the Michaels containers seem more easier to open. That might be a concern for some of you. So if we look at the inside now, okay, so I'm looking at the tops of the lids. They look pretty similar, and we can look at the hinges back here. Now Elizabeth Ward does pop out like this, and I do that sometimes when I'm dumping out trays. So you can see, yeah, you can see this little plastic ridge here. They both look pretty much the same, okay? So, and then let's see about the lids here. So we've got the Elizabeth Ward lid, and once again, how nice of that. They actually put, I don't know if you can kind of see it shining. There we go. Elizabeth Ward container. So you know if you're mixing and matching and then you get frustrated, you can know which container is pissing you off. Okay? Because they're labeled. So that's pretty cool. So I just kind of snap it back in there. And I kind of snap it back in there. The Elizabeth Ward, definitely I feel a little bit more of a push to get back in there. This is the Elizabeth Ward medium. So feels pretty good. Sometimes they really don't want to come out, which honestly, I see that as a plus. See, this one came out. I do worry about the hinges. See this little line, that little hinge piece? It looks, they're both pretty thin, but the plastic on the Michaels dupe is a little bit thinner. Or maybe it's just a different material. But again, you can kind of see the differences between the little grippies where you're going to put your fingers. And so I'll do this for one more. So then we have these. I mean, they're virtually indistinguishable, honestly. If they weren't labeled, I wouldn't know the difference. Let's see if Elizabeth Ward lid can fit on the... Oh, yeah. So the Elizabeth Ward just fit nicely on the Michaels body, but it feels like loose. Let's see about the Elizabeth Ward top on the Michaels one. Ooh, that's definitely a more snug fit, and it's definitely a more snug situation that it's in there. So, ooh, it doesn't want to come out. Okay. So the superiority of the durability, perhaps, of Elizabeth Ward might just come down to the lid. All right, so I'm gonna put these back the way that they were. And then I'm not gonna take off the lids for the other two sizes. I just wanna compare them visually. So you can see this goes a little bit deeper in that little grip. Okay, so again, this is the Elizabeth Ward. And they look virtually indistinguishable. And what I loved is that this Michaels knockoff came with so many of the little ones. Okay, so they look pretty much the same. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to get some drills involved, okay? So my suspicion is that they're going to hold the exact same. So, you know what I'm going to do though? Before I do that, I'm going to pull in the Diamond Art Club. Because this is one that many of us have or are interested in getting, especially those of us that did not have, oh my gosh, here's an Elizabeth Ward, okay. Especially those of us who did not have Elizabeth Ward before. So here's the largest Diamond Art Club version. Then there's the, wait, is this the same? That is the same. Wait, is this the largest Diamond Art Club? Hold on. Yeah, it is. Okay. Right? Pause you for 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I just got into my head and I wasn't sure what I was, I wanted to make sure that I said this accurately. That's okay. Okay, so, thank you, Roman. So, the middle here we have is the Diamond Art Club containers. The left is the Michaels dupe, and then the right is the Elizabeth Ward. Diamond Art Club containers do only come with 3 sizes. Hopefully next year, really, many of us are really hoping they'll come out with like a smaller, like this, storage size, because even this is quite large for some of the smaller amounts of drills we get. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the largest sizes, and then the medium, and then the next medium, and then the small, okay? These I expect to be pretty much virtually the same. So I'm going to get out my little trusty flower funnel from Carissa's Craft Corner. And what I'm going to do is, let's see, I think the best way to do this is to compare our storages here. Oh, and this is the other thing, Diamond Art Club. This is how they're supposed to face in your basket or in your tray, your basket. Versus these are supposed to show like face front like this. So they do store differently in the trays. However, you can still store the Diamond Art Clubs in the Elizabeth Ward trays and vice versa. They still fit. So that's really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my, hopefully there's not a ton of static in here. Okay, so I'm going to start with the duped one. Okay, and I'm going to put my flower funnel in here and I'm going to pour, yeah, you know what? The little dryer sheets in here are going to make a mess of this. So I'm just going to take some of them out. This little dryer sheet situation that I have going in here is a, I cannot get this one out, is a classic solution to the ever-present problem of static. So I'm just kind of gently pouring them in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare each of the sizes together to see if we can get a good handle on how much they fit. Okay, now these are square drills. Okay, so it gives you sort of a basic viewpoint of that. Now I do not have, I do not keep, or it's not that I don't keep my rounds, it's just that I don't have a lot of round paintings to do this much of a drill show with, I guess. Okay, so this is as full as I would comfortably fill it if I was going to kit this up, okay? So we can see there's just a little bit of space at the top, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and I'm going to see how much of that will fit into the Diamond Art Club large storage. So who holds more? And I'm going to try out this little spout situation on the side of that for pouring. Okay, that's not bad. I can see for a smaller amount of drills, I'm gonna, for the sake of time, I'm going to twist it to its side to pour more. I can see how that would be helpful if you're trying to pour like a small amount of drills out, perhaps. So the reason why I'm doing it this way and not by weight, and that might drive some of you more sciencey minded people insane, which to be honest, it does drive me a little crazy, and I'm the one doing it, is because visually I think this is more effective than, I know a lot of us are visual people. I am too, you know, but I think that this will help kind of show you a little bit. Now, I do have the Diamond Art Club large storage, and I do have the Michaels Elizabeth Ward dupe. I'm going to close them up and I'm going to show you. So again, I only filled the Diamond Art Club one as comfortably full as I would use it. Okay, so if I open this up, you can see there's a little bit of room at the top. However, that little bit of room at the top would in no way, shape, or form accommodate this amount of drills. So who stores more? Definitely the Elizabeth Ward dupe. And then just to prove a point, I guess, see, I'm going to use murder tweezers to do that. I'm going to pour these drills into my actual Elizabeth Ward. Oh, see, we got some static in there. There's a few drills in the bottom of that one. I expect that because, especially this morning, it is New Year's Eve here, and Central Florida is having some record low temperatures in the 30s and 40s, which I don't think has happened since we moved here, or it's been very rare. Oh, I just lost a drill down the hole, down this hole. It's been very rare for that to happen. When we our first winter here, it's funny, there were talks in the little city we lived in, people saw little snow flurries, and my son was quite young at the time, and when we woke up a couple times that winter, there were his little water table, it was like this little cute dinosaur water table, sand table situation for toddlers. It had a layer of ice on it, so. Okay, so this is our Elizabeth Ward and our dupe. So as you can see, aside from the one drill that went down the hole, they fit the same. Okay, so capacity is, it's at capacity, it's at the same. So in terms of who holds more, definitely Elizabeth Ward and the Michaels. Diamond Art Club is a little bit wider, or it feels like it's wider. I guess it's not, nah, it's not wider, it just feels like it is. Definitely, you can see the size difference. I mean, that's obvious, right? Then we get more down into the medium sizes, which, as you can see here, again, they're a little bit different. And then we're going to have the next size down. And then Diamond Art Club doesn't have a medium. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take our little drills, and once again, I'm going to fill up the next largest size. Oops, we've got the, oh, maybe not. We've got the dryer sheets in here. Trying to make a mess of things. Oops, I'll just make a mess of it myself. Yeah, so all of these 310 are from a cross-stitch conversion project that I have going from Jade right now. Or most of these 310. I actually have plans to work on that one and finish it in 2026. It's one of my long-term whips, but it just got to a point where I was using so much 310 and it was like, why don't I have a million baggies of 310s for that project, because it's one of the Mandy Manzano cross-stitch conversion projects. So it's got that stained glass look, which what ends up happening there is you end up with a lot of black because they do all the outlining in black, which I'm grateful for. Personally, I absolutely love it. Also, the panel itself is dark. It is R2D2 from Star Wars because he is my favorite, and yeah, I just love R2. And anyway, so there's a lot of like darker colors on his panel. So there's a lot of black on his panel. And so anyway, that is why I have so much 310. And then what I do is any jade canvas I finished, I'm making a mess. Any jade canvas that I have finished, I just throw the 310 in here because I don't know if you guys noticed, but these 310 die lots, there's not really seeming to be any die lot differences with 310 drills. I guess maybe some people would care about like the facets on them, but I just mix them together because I have some long-term ideas for leftover drill projects, and I'm going to need a lot of 310 for that, so another time. So here we have the dupe, or the Michaels version. We have the Diamond Art Club, and we have the Elizabeth Ward. So as you can see here too, I've filled it about as comfortably full as I would fill it, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to see about the Diamond Art Club. Let's see. Oops. And I will pick up all those little spare drills that I just spilled on the table because those count, right? I mean, how pointless would it be if I showed you size comparisons for volume like this and half the drills were all over the freaking table? Like, well, of course they fit. You just dumped half of them onto the table. Okay. Much smoother. Okay, so we're getting pretty full here. Oop, yeah, I think that's pretty much as full as I would comfortably call it with the Diamond Art Club medium. I mean, maybe I could fit a little bit more in there, but I don't think I could fit this much in here. So once again, the Elizabeth Ward dupe, the Michaels, wins out on size. Now let's see about the actual Elizabeth Ward versus the Michael dupe here. So I'm going to start by putting these in here. And if you guys have any interest in doing like more storage comparison, I'm more than happy to do that. I have a variety of storage systems because life is chaotic and organizing things makes me happy. So I, of course, had to try out all the different storage systems. It's like a hobby in and of itself. It's a hobby within a hobby. Some people really don't like hitting up, and I don't blame you, but the most exciting thing for me is picking what storage system am I going to use for this project. Okay, so Diamond Art Club bin is now empty. Oh, we do have a little piece of trash in there, from the 310. This is about as comfortably full as I would put it. Close it up. This is the Michael. This is the Michaels dupe. Okay, I just poured them all back in there. Okay. Just you guys. Oh my god. All right, let's pour from the Michaels dupe into the Elizabeth Ward. And make sure they all fit. So yeah, like I was saying, I have a variety of storage systems. I have some that are no longer available, unfortunately. I think the diamond painting community had a collective cry. Maybe that's dramatic, but that's okay. A collective cry when the oh god, what was it called? That hardware store, something freight, Harbor Freight. When the Harbor Freights Harbor Freight is a store in the United States. It is, at least in the United States, it might be elsewhere, but I gather it's North American specific, and they created these containers that went pretty much viral in the diamond painting community for storage, to the effect that I have a shelf for them from a seller on Etsy just to fit these specifically for diamond painting. Okay, so it's kind of a big deal. And then they discontinued them not that long ago. So I think there was a collective cry in the diamond painting community because they were a really cheap storage option. And they held a lot of drills, and they held up. So I have quite a few. Anyway, so I could definitely like do other storage options. I have tons of. So if you're interested in seeing like different storage options, let me know in the comments. All right, so we've got officially the Elizabeth Ward and the Michaels dupe right there, and you can see they fit the same. Okay, so this is kind of going as expected. The next size, we're gonna make sure this is, yep, that's the Michaels dupe, and that's the DAC, and that's the official Elizabeth Ward. Okay, so we're going to, okay, so I'm gonna get out some of these dryer sheets. So I don't think I explained earlier why I have cut up dryer sheets inside of this, because they're like the one thing that I've noticed really kills the static. And especially, oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Especially this morning where it is very cold this morning and relatively dry. I'm willing to bet we're still humid, but yeah, it's like 46, 45 degrees this morning here in Central Florida. Northern Florida gets colder, more like Georgia. Georgia will get snow, you know. Northern Florida occasionally will get like a flurry or something. And there was a blizzard in Northern Florida, like in the 70s or 80s, I can't remember. And so yeah, but when the first year we lived here, there was snow and ice. It was kind of funny. It was a snow flurry, sorry. But yeah, that definitely affects the static in your drills, because everybody always says, oh, see, this is too full. The hinge is being funny. So I'm going to pour a little bit out. This is comfortably full. Okay, and this is the Michaels dupe. And we're going to try for the Diamond Art Club medium storage. So anyway, I've lived in a variety of places, which if you've been on the channel, you probably heard me talk about. The worst place for humidity and static that I ever lived, and this was before I diamond painted, thank God, was Colorado. Colorado is so dry that my husband and I's parents would come to visit us, and both of our moms were like, I don't know what it is visiting you guys, but all of a sudden, like, we look like, they would say that felt like they looked old, like all their wrinkles came out, and like, because it was so dry, you know, they were like having a hard time moisturizing. When we moved from there to here, number one, my skin was like a collective sigh of relief, first of all, and second of all, it was like finding a whole new routine. All right, so here's Diamond Art Club's medium storage. So for the first time in forever, we have a storage system that actually fits the Diamond Art Club. Now, if I could show you, there's quite a bit of space at the top here. So it would seem as though the Diamond Art Club smallest storage they have, which is sort of a smaller medium size of the Elizabeth Ward and the Michaels, would fit some more drills in it than the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to top it off, and then we're going to put it in the Elizabeth Ward and see how that works. Okay, so now this is definitely as full as I would put the Diamond Art Club version. More full than this. Okay, so let's see if the Elizabeth Ward can handle the extra top off, or if it would be overflowing like the Michaels would. Very, very scientific as I switch up the rules of the experiment here. All right, let's see. Yeah, so static was absolutely incredible in Colorado. However, the coolest thing about that, though, was that you could literally put something out to dry, like a super thick sweater or a pair of jeans, and it would seriously be dry in a few hours. It was insane. Okay, so I am overflowing my Elizabeth Ward right now. Can it handle it? I mean, it's just barely, oops. Yeah, see, it's just barely, it doesn't want to close. So definitely the smallest of the diamond art clubs outperforms the medium small of the Elizabeth Ward and the Michaels. So far, those are pretty, what a mess. Those are pretty, that's pretty interesting, right? Because so far, Elizabeth Ward and Michaels have outperformed the Diamond Art Club for storage, okay? So there's definitely, this one will carry more than this one because that's the leftovers. So now we are out of the Diamond Art Clubs because Diamond Art Club doesn't make these tiny little things. So I'm gonna take this Michaels knockoff. I call it Michaels. It is not a Michaels brand as far as I can tell. Those of you who shop on like AliExpress and Temu might be saying, well, yeah, that's just like a Temu Express knockoff or something. But I don't shop in those, and so I've never dealt with that. So I wouldn't know because I don't have any Elizabeth Ward dupes. This is my first dupe, I guess. Oh, okay, just a drill just flung in my face, guys. All right. So clearly I had to remove some of that. So this is a good amount of drills. Okay, so I'm gonna close this. So that's about as comfortable as I can get it. Okay, so I'm gonna open this up and we're gonna pour it right into the Elizabeth Ward. So yeah, you guys will have to tell me, have you ever, like, do you experience a lot of static where you live? Does it tend to relate to the humidity for you? That's what people always say online, like, oh, it's really dry where I live, so I get a lot of static. But I live in a very humid environment, and it doesn't seem to matter. I get static no matter what. So, all right, so they both fit, and they both fit about evenly, the same amount. So, okay, so that's our basic comparison in terms of the volume of drills that each of these fit. I'm going to pause you here and then I'm going to come back with the tray sets and we can talk about comparison prices and value for what you get. Alrighty, so I'm back. A couple of things to note. You can find a variety of these storage systems on sale on different websites, right? So I'm going to start with the Diamond Art Club because well, that's what I have pulled up here. I'm on my phone. I'm looking at the Diamond Art Club website, and as of this filming, it is December 31st, 2025. Now, this retails for about $46.99 US, and frequently you can get it cheaper on Amazon. And sometimes yes, sometimes no, but I've always found it cheaper on Amazon, but Diamond Art Club does run their sales, and this is always included as part of that. So like for right now, there's a 25% off site-wide coupon. You can use your different like coupon codes and stuff throughout the year on this to make it cheaper, okay? So I think I paid like $35 for this, and you get one. Okay, that's what I bought originally. I bought one of these. They don't come in 2-packs, and I'm mentioning that because the other ones we're going to talk about frequently come paired together. So this one container by itself, $46.99 from Diamond Art Club. And you do see I have a opening here. I'm going to talk about that in a minute because I wanted to show you how they fit in each other, how interchangeable they are. Okay, so that's Diamond Art Club. So this is the Elizabeth Ward. Now, when I bought the Elizabeth Ward, the only way that I could get it was on Amazon. So if you avoid Amazon like the plague, Elizabeth Ward does have their own website where they will sell these, but they are frequently expensive, much more expensive there. So for example, I bought a 2-pack of these and they came with the variety. That's the other difference. Elizabeth Ward gives you different options. They will sell you a container of just these, like the whole thing is filled with these. I did buy that once. But their standard fare is this variety pack where you get the small, the large, medium, small, medium, and then the tiny, right? And so right now that is retailing for $60.99 US dollars on Amazon. So that seems pretty pricey, right? And it is for me too, $61. However, it is sold in a 2-pack. So each of these trays ends up being $30.50. Okay, and frequently I will see a 2-pack of these cheaper for like $45 for a 2-pack. And what I mean by 2-pack is you get 2 trays filled with the different sizes. I will frequently see that for like $45 or something. I think that's what I ended up paying. I ended up waiting for the sale, for a sale or whatever. So for gold standard, for it being about $45, I paid about $22, $23 per tray. To me, that's worth it, right? So the Diamond Art Club so far does come off as a little bit pricier because you only get the 1 tray and it's $45.99, right? But depending on what you do, you could catch a sale on it, maybe make it a little bit cheaper. So that's Elizabeth Ward. Next, we've got the Michaels, and I'm gonna pull up the Michaels app here. I bought this. Oh, of course, it didn't keep my page. Let me find it. It's gonna make me sign in. It was just, this Michaels app just drives me crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my orders. I had to buy this online. It was delivered December 10th. Okay, so actually I bought this in December. And regularly for a 2-pack, so I didn't show it, but I do have another one of these. It came in this 2-pack for $37.18. Regularly, they are $30.99. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I only bought, oh, okay, that's weird. Oh, no. It came in a 2-pack. So regularly, they are $30.99. And I paid for the two trays of these, I paid $37.18. So that was a sale price. So each of these trays normally is a little bit under $20. It's about $18.59 per tray. So far, if you're looking at per tray, your cheapest option is definitely this Michaels. They're calling it the Sparkly Selections White Diamond Storage Box. And this is definitely your cheaper option. Your Elizabeth Ward, I think, comes in even cheaper for your 2nd tray, or your 2 trays. And then the more expensive is the Diamond Art Club version. So I guess your next question might be, okay, if you can get your hands on the Michaels, does it make it worth going? Is it more worthwhile to go with this, over this, over this? So I'm going to say that that'll boil down to some personal preferences here. And what I mean by that is, as I've shown you, the Diamond Art Club storages, you only have the 3 sizes, right? You've got this large, you've got this medium, and you've got this small. And now I've shown you the comparisons for how much drills they store. So one of the frequent gripes about the Diamond Art Club tray set that I do hear is, where are the size options for these? Especially as Diamond Art Club itself produces diamond art canvases. Frequently their canvases are way more than the, what is it, like 54 containers in here? Let me just double check. I believe it's 54. Okay, so, yeah, those don't belong in there. So 54 containers, so your kit has to have 54 colors or under. So that's like the one gripe that I've really heard about it from other people, is that you really have to have 2 of these Diamond Art Clubs to cover most canvases. If you're doing smaller, you stick to smaller stuff, then you'll be fine. But most, people like to branch out and try different things, and as they, grow their color catalog especially, it's been, more and more interesting. Here's another one that doesn't belong. It's been more and more interesting to kind of get into this, like, high color count, right? So the value for what you get for this is going to depend on what your style of doing kits is, okay? So I guess the next question would be the Elizabeth Ward, okay? So why would you go Elizabeth Ward and arguably the Sparkly Selections, Michaels, over the Diamond Art Club container systems. I would say if you're used to doing more high color counts, if you have a lot of if you have kits that even have a lot of confetti, I would say this is going to be your better value because they come with these tiny little containers. And especially like for this cross stitch conversion for R2 that I mentioned, now that's not a Diamond Art Club kit, but I originally kitted up in these trays for that, and I'm going to tell you it was a lifesaver until I spilled my coffee on all the trays and they seeped into the drills, and that was the whole mess. I had to reorder like 15 colors, but I digress. These containers for confetti and for the high color count canvases are, I would really say they're indispensable. Diamond Art Club, if you guys are watching, 2026 is, you know, if you don't already have it in the works, and I know a lot of us have asked for this from your system, is to make smaller containers. Now, that being said, if your 54 containers is good enough for me, why would I need, this is an Elizabeth Ward. Why, 54 containers is enough for me. Why would I pick this over, why would I pick the Elizabeth Ward style and the Michaels do over Diamond Art Club? Well, if the containers and the sizes don't bother you and you really don't care, maybe you're just wanting the cheaper option. And by far, if you catch it on a sale, this is going to be cheaper even on sale than this. And at least in terms of my experience, catching this on Amazon, catching this on Amazon, catching this on Diamond Art Club website, even with a deal. The cheapest I've ever gotten this on a deal, or seen, I didn't buy it there, but the cheapest I've ever seen this on the Diamond Art Club website is usually around $30 for one of them. And that's after it got discounted by like, 25, 30%. Or whatever. So I've never really, sometimes I just put it in the cart for fun to see how much money it would take off. But for one tray, that's all you're getting for that, I would still say this is the better deal. Now, right now, $30 for two of these, $30 even on a really good sale for one of these. Like, again, which one are you going to pick? The one that maybe has more options. The Diamond Art Club containers are definitely made of a thicker plastic. The tabs, as you can see, they're a little bit wider. It's a different process to try to open this, because these have these smaller tabs and these have larger tabs. Longevity-wise, that's, remains to be seen, just because I think these have only been in existence for a year or two maybe, versus Elizabeth Ward's been around for a really long time. I've had my Elizabeth Ward before I've had this. It's not a frequent storage system that I use like day in, day out, but I do use it. I would definitely say that the Diamond Art Club containers seem a little bit more sturdy to me in terms of not cracking plastic. But again, it's going to boil down to your preferences. Do you need more containers for like confetti, or you want a bit more of a budget and you want more bang for your buck? You might still go with the Elizabeth Ward style containers over the Diamond Art Club, which I say that knowing that I absolutely love this system. I also love the pink, top. This system is fantastic, and it is a little bit thicker, okay? And I did do a little bit more of a tray comparison in my first video I made with the comparisons. Now, the Michaels Sparkly Selections okay, so now we've got Elizabeth Ward and the Sparkly Selections, okay? So how would I choose one of these over the others? The lids, they pretty much feel the same. They almost look exactly the same. I don't think they're interchangeable. No, the lids will not fit, at least the Elizabeth. Yeah, no, the lids are not interchangeable with this latch system. The latch system on the Sparkly Selections for Michaels definitely feels a little bit more flimsy. The tray itself feels good though. The containers themselves feel good. The lids on these are a little bit, seem a little thinner plastic than the Elizabeth Ward. But again, it's going to boil down to what is your preference. So I would have to say, of course, looking at the prices like we did before, the sparkly selections came out to cheaper than the Elizabeth Ward. So each of these regularly, not on sale, was $18.59. Okay, so when I bought them for what did I buy them for? I bought two for $37.18. So yeah, so I would say these end up being just a little bit cheaper than the Elizabeth Ward on sale. So on sale, the Elizabeth Ward is pretty comparable to the price of this, but at the price it normally is, Elizabeth Ward versus the sparkly selections this is definitely cheaper. Whether or not this is cheaper than, say, your Temu options or AliExpress options, I don't know. I don't have anything from there, so I have nothing to compare. I have heard that you can get really good deals on that. I have looked at AliExpress to try to see about a system like this, and honestly, I feel like I ended up finding it was worthwhile. It was still not that big of a price difference to just wait for the Elizabeth Ward on a good sale. So I kind of feel like that's how that ended up. That being said, one more thing I want to mention is the customizability of these trays. Okay, so sparkly selections really just sort of had this. It had the 4 different size options in the tray. Just like Diamond Art Club just kind of has the 3 option sizes in the tray. However, with Diamond Art Club, you can buy separate packs of the different individual sizes of these, which is nice, so you can further customize or just get a couple more containers if you'd like, though they won't all fit in one tray, but you can still have, like, switch them out for stuff, right? The sparkly selections, they do not have any separate, that I could find, trays, little containers. You know, they didn't have any, I couldn't find any that had, like, for example, that were filled with all these little ones. Versus Elizabeth Ward, I've actually bought an Elizabeth Ward tray that was filled with just these containers. Now that was more expensive than the options we're talking about, but for me, I needed these little tiny ones. I needed a lot of them for the different types of projects that I'm doing. You can also buy these little containers separately through Elizabeth Ward and Amazon, okay? So you can buy the different sizes. There's a lot of flexibility and customizability in terms of if you just get the one Elizabeth Ward tray and you want different sizes, you can definitely customize with buying different containers. Same with the Diamond Art Club. Sparkly selections, not so much. However, you could go for the sparkly selections, and this is the next thing that I wanted to show you, and these are sparkly selections. Next thing I want to show you was, can you interchange them in these 3 trays? And the answer is yes. So, as we would probably expect, okay, the Elizabeth Ward stuff, being very similar to this, will easily fit in this system, okay? You can easily fit this. It's obvious. So here's an Elizabeth Ward, large, okay? So clearly these fit. They also, the sparkly selections containers, which are these, will fit in the Elizabeth Ward. And they will look just the same, and they will function just the same. The lids are just, you know, you'll feel it in the lids, but pretty much it'll all feel the same. Now, the Diamond Art Club, that's where we get kind of situational. And what I mean by that is, literally, you're going to situate the trays differently in the bins. So I'm going to move this like this. I'm just going to flip this Elizabeth Ward so it's easier to see on the camera. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Diamond Art Club, you can see they are stacked like front facing of the lids, of the latches, versus the Elizabeth Ward and the Michaels Sparkly selections, they are facing, the latches are facing to the side. See, because you have to turn them to get to the side. It's a different viewpoint for a different purpose. So what you can do though is you can take a Diamond Art Club and you can put it in the Elizabeth Ward tray. And all you're doing is you're just putting it on its side instead of like this, which is how it normally sits in its own tray. Same thing with the sparkly selections. It'll fit, okay? And the lids will go on. It'll work just fine, okay? Likewise, can we fit these? How are you going to fit these in the DAC tray? Well, this is an Elizabeth Ward large, okay, and we're just going to fit it down in here. Now, it does feel quite snug, and I'm going to show you why. Because the Elizabeth Ward, this is another thing I noticed on the bottle, these ridges stick out. You can see them. They stick out quite a bit more. However, they still work. The side here is a lot more reinforced than here. So what I've done in the past is I've just stuck it like this, okay? And it fits. Is it perfect? No, not really, because what it has is it has this little bit that sticks out a little bit, but as you can see, I can still fit things in there, okay? So I'm not entirely worried. And then here's like a medium, and it fits, okay? I've never had an issue with those fitting. The Diamond Art Club stuff, so as we saw in the Elizabeth Ward, we can definitely fit it. It definitely fits. And in the Sparkly Selection, you just do the same thing. You just pop it in here. Sparkly Selection can obviously go in Elizabeth Ward, and it can obviously go in the Diamond Art Club, okay? Just like this, because it just has to go on its front. So I'm going to put these away, and then I'll be right back. Alrighty guys, so to conclude this probably epically way too long video comparison, it's just going to depend on your personal preferences. Overall, I would say the value for me is more towards the Elizabeth Ward side and the Sparkly Selection side, but the Diamond Art Club version is still a really nice option. It's very sturdy too. Feels very sturdy. So whether or not you choose to pick any of these up, I'm curious what your thoughts are. Do you have any dupes of the Elizabeth Ward system from AliExpress or Temu? Do you like using them? Do they interchange with your Elizabeth Ward system? Do you have the DAC system or DAC version? Do you have the DAC version of these? How do you feel about this? Do you tend to prefer one or the other? For me, I kind of just use whatever makes sense with the kit. So what I'm going to be doing is in January, I'm going to be starting a very lovely piece by Jaded Gem Shop called The Collector by artist Chamushka. And it doesn't have a ton of colors. There are 63 colors, but I'm going to be probably working on that one. It's probably going to be like a long-term whip because it's very big and I don't want to get burned out, right? And it is my absolute unicorn of a canvas. So what I'm going to be doing for that is I'm actually going to be kitting it up in this Sparkly Selections tray system so that I can kind of try this out to see how it goes. I love using these for my long-term whips, things that I like to pull out and put away again. While I'm working on something like day-to-day, I usually get a tray tower like this behind me. And this, I ultimately prefer to kit up into trays. But if this is something that I'm going to pull out and work on and then put away and pull out and work on and put away, it's something that I'm okay with using this kind of storage, because when I've used the tray systems for those long-term whips, I just end up needing to use the trays and then feeling bad that there's already stuff kitted up in them and I won't touch them. And then I have to figure out a way to like store the trays, and that gets messy. So yeah, so because this Jaded Gem Shop is going to be a long-term whip for me, I'm going to be using these. So stay tuned for the future month in reviews where I will discuss how the system is working out. And I figure it'll give it a really good run to see how the containers are doing, how the hinges are working, and all of that. So I'll leave you with this. I hope you guys are having a great day, and Happy New Year for those of you that celebrate the new year. I hope you're doing well, and if you enjoyed watching this, I do other comparisons on the channel and reviews, unboxings, month in reviews, events, that kind of thing. Feel free to stick around. If you want to, you can subscribe or like the video or just leave a comment. I would just love it to hear back from you. I love interacting with you guys. So let me know if this is helpful to you or what your thoughts are on your storage solutions and how you feel about it. I'd be curious to know. So I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye!